The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s working visit to New York will be securing business and investment opportunities to support the nation's economic recovery.
The Department of Education plans to reduce the workload of teachers by removing administrative tasks from their stead and introducing a work balancing tool they could use.
The Cavite provincial government has awarded the 11 billion contract to develop and modernize the Sangley Point International Airport to a multinational consortium composed of companies from the Philippines, South Korea, and Europe.
The World Health Organization has declared that the COVID-19 pandemic is nearing its end.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, September 15, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harleen Delgado.
First in the news, President Bongbong Marcos' upcoming visit to the United States is expected to bring in more investments in the country. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. would make every attempt to solve the Philippines' economic problems. This is why the chief executive is anticipated to attend an economic briefing in New York, where he will meet with American businessmen. In addition to the economic briefing on the Philippines, Department of Foreign Affairs Assistant Secretary Kira Azucena says President Marcos will take part in roundtable discussions aimed at promoting the country as a significant Asian investor and developing economy.
This briefing will be an opportunity to outline the key economic priorities of his administration, with a special focus on how we can hopefully expand and strengthen Philippine-U.S. trade and investment relations during his term.
Marcos also intends to meet with U.S. companies that could contribute to the administration's efforts to achieve food security, energy security, and sustainable economic development. According to Gonzaga, the president is expected to meet the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. ASEAN Business Council, and the U.S. Philippine Society. President Marcos may meet with U.S. President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the bilateral meetings scheduled for him, but neither the DFA nor the palace have confirmed this. Additionally, President Marcos has promised to deliver his speech on September 20 at the 77th United Nations General Assembly.
The President's statement will also articulate his administration's priorities, which includes climate change, the rule of law, and food security.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
With the introduction of a one-year freeze on land amortization and interest payments of agrarian reform beneficiaries, the government would lose at least $1 billion in yearly earnings. Ray Palayo will tell us why.
The most recent executive order of President Ferdinand Marcos for a moratorium on the amortization of land would benefit more than 655,000 agrarian reform beneficiaries. DAR Undersecretary Marilyn Baruayap stated that the government collects 1 billion pesos annually for land amortization, or less than 1% of the country's annual income.
Ang kanilang benepisyo ay hindi sila magbabayad ng amortization at kung meron silang dati ng mga due na interests or surcharges, ay hindi nila babayaran for 1 year. Pero hindi ibig sabihin yung kanilang pagkakautang ay pinatawad or na-wipe out. Hindi lang sila magbabayad, parang tulong sa kanila ng gobyerno.
Yap added that the moratorium is necessary while awaiting the passage of a proposed law on the permanent condonation of existing agrarian reform loans. She thanked lawmakers for supporting the condonation bill amending Section 26 of Republic Act 6657 or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988. Section 26 of the RA 6657 requires the ARBs who were awarded lands to pay to the Land Bank of the Philippines in 30 annual amortizations at 6% interest per annum. Under the proposed law, the loans of ARBs with unpaid amortization and interest shall be condoned.
Ang estimated cost nun kung lahat ng ARBs ay makakasali ay 58 billion pesos. So that would be the cost of amortizations.
On Wednesday, a technical working group has been created at the House of Representatives to consolidate bills that seek to condone unpaid amortizations of agrarian reform beneficiaries over land acquisition under the CARP. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, is set to launch this year a balancing tool to address workload issues of teachers in public schools. Janice Inhente reports why.
To help address the concerns of teachers when it comes to their workload, the Department of Education, or DepEd, is planning to launch a balancing tool that would help determine which tasks are directly related to teaching and other assignments. The said tool aims to determine the number of contact hours teachers should be spending inside the classrooms for their teaching duties. According to DepEd spokesperson Attorney Michael Powa, it will also help identify the time teachers should be spending on non-teaching or administrative tasks.
Kinausap na po natin yung ating DH-ROD, which is our basically DepEd's HR. Ang sabi po sa amin is they will be issuing a policy talaga dito sa working hours for the guidance of our teachers. Marami din pong papeles or paperwork na ginagawa ang ating mga teachers. At yun po yung nakasaad dun sa work balancing tool na ila-launch natin once approved and completed. Para po makita natin ano yung teaching time lang talaga, ano yung mga admin tasks lang talaga. At yung admin task ay gusto na po natin ipasa sa non-teaching personnel or ma-reduce kung kaya namang i-reduce at we can let go of that paperwork.
Powa said this is a response to reports of various groups. Many public school teachers nationwide are complaining of excessive workloads. Meanwhile, Powa said that DepEd is also working on reducing special assignments given to public school teachers. Teachers may no longer be required to attend activities organized by local government units to help ensure they have more time to spend inside their respective classrooms. Powa said that the DepEd is eyeing to release the said workload balancing tool within the year to help address the issues on the workload of public school teachers nationwide. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of National Defense has proposed a new program for the mandatory ROTC. According to the department, the program for grades 11 to 12 will be non-military centric. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
The Department of National Defense wants to instill patriotism and good citizenship among senior high school students. During a budget deliberation in the House of Representatives, the Defense Department disclosed that there are talks with the Department of Education regarding the implementation of the mandatory ROTC in case it passed into law.
We are now discussing with the Department of Education. We created a working group that will exhaustively tackle what are the requirements or what are the subjects that in the intent that we have to change the program of instructions or the curriculum for the ROTC as compared to the old ROTC.
DND Officer in Charge USEC Jose Faustino Jr. said there are no imminent threat in the Philippines, but it is still important to be prepared to defend the country if need be. Under the new ROTC program presented by the DND to DepEd, grade 11 to 12 students will learn about the history to become good citizens and spark a more love for the country.
Hindi po ito yung typical na marcha-marcha po agad o masyao tinatawag nating military-centric. Ang purpose po nitong piniresent namin na program of instruction para po sa 11 grade 12, 11 and 12 ay ito po is yung i-develop po natin yung citizenship.
Subjects to be taught will also include drug awareness, traffic rules, and military history. The official also clarified that military training will be conducted in the tertiary level, and if the student is willing to undergo the exercises and become a member of the armed forces. He also stressed that grades 11 and 12 will not be included in the said military training. The mandatory ROTC is among the priority legislations of the Marcos administration. Meanwhile, USEC Faustino assured they will properly implement the new ROTC program, including its safeguards, in order to prevent the similar incident which led to the abolishment of the ROTC program back in 2001. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, thousands of people queue to see Queen Elizabeth's lying in state. Hundreds of thousands more are expected in the following days to pay their silent tribute to the longest-serving British monarch. Jella Garmino will tell us why live. Jella, how long is the line for those waiting to file past the Queen's coffin in Westminster Hall?
Yes, Marielle, the line for those waiting to file past as Queen Elizabeth lies in state in Westminster Hall until her funeral on Monday, September 19, stretched for around 3 miles. Long queues continue to form along the banks of the River Thames. Hundreds of thousands of mourners are also expected in the following days to pay their silent tribute to the Queen. People lining up are being warned they will have to stand for many hours with little opportunity to sit down. This as the queue is constantly moving. However, mourners are willing to wait as they say queuing for a few hours is incomparable to the 17 years of service by the late Queen.
Given her life to the service of the country and to the betterment of the country, and the very least I can do and the very least we can all do is to come along and say thank you, just to acknowledge what she's done, to pay our respects.
She's just been so important, you know, she's always been there and we've always looked up to her, so it's very important for me to be here today to pay my respects.
It's very sad because basically I've known her my entire life, or not personally, but she was a public figure, and I felt close to her even though I'm an American, because we used to be part of the British Empire, and so there's still a sort of historical connection to Britain.
It's a really historic occasion, isn't it, when she's been monarch for such a long time, and I think it was brought home to us because we were at the front and we saw her on the gun carriage and the family walking behind. It was really, people, you could tell everyone felt the same.
And being here at the moment to witness it, and with all the benefits that we reap working here overseas, coming from the Philippines, I think this due to my last respects giving to the Queen itself, and just to say goodbye and thank you very much, ma'am, for the job well done.
Meanwhile, King Charles III was expected to spend a quiet day in the morning after the grand ceremonial procession on Wednesday. On Friday, he will head to Wales. This as members of the British Armed Forces have already begun holding rehearsals for the Queen's funeral. Back to you, Marielle.
Jella, can people be turned away if the queue gets too long? And how can people check the length of the queue beforehand?
Marielle, although the government has set a 10-mile maximum length, they are not turning anyone away. Though the queue is long, it is slowly moving at a constant pace. The public can monitor the length of the queue online via the government queue tracker on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, providing live updates. Marielle?
Thank you, Jella Garmino, reporting live. Meanwhile, the chief of the World Health Organization believes that the COVID-19 pandemic can come to an end. But on the other hand, Maria Van Kerkhove, WHO's technical lead on COVID-19, said the agency believes the numbers are an underestimation of the real cases. Bianca Quijano will tell us why.
According to the latest epidemiological report of the World Health Organization, or WHO, the newly reported COVID-19 cases have dropped dramatically from 12% a week earlier to 28% the week ending September 11. The number of deaths since March 2020 has fallen to its lowest level, according to WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus.
Last week, the number of weekly reported deaths from COVID-19 was the lowest since March 2020. We have never been in a better position to end the pandemic. We're not there yet, but the end is in sight.
But the world needs to step up, he added. This includes urging countries to invest in vaccinating 100% of most at-risk groups and to keep up with testing. The agency published 6 policy briefs to act as an urgent call for governments to compare their policies to and to strengthen against COVID-19 and prevent further pathogens with pandemic potential. With this, he believes this is a better position to end the pandemic.
We can end this pandemic together, but only if all countries, manufacturers, communities, and individuals step up and seize this opportunity.
However, Maria Van Kerkhove, WHO technical lead on COVID-19, said the agency believes the numbers are an underestimation of the real cases. This is because many countries have cut back on testing and may not be detecting less serious cases. She believes there will be future waves of infection throughout the world caused by subvariants of Omicron or different variants of concern. Bianca Quijano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William and Harleen.
Thank you, Marielle. The Bangsamoro Transition Authority has been urged once more by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to pass all necessary laws that would ensure the welfare of the citizens of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Nelma Ribohok reports why.
The Bangsamoro people and the Bangsamoro Transition Authority received the support of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The president called on the BTA to pass crucial fiscal legislations and other measures that will promote the welfare of the Bangsamoro during the inaugural session of the BTA Parliament held at the Sharif Kabunsuan Cultural Complex in Cotabato City.
I urge you to pass all the crucial legislations on fiscal policy, particularly taxation, and to facilitate the conduct of the elections in the BARM in 2025. I also encourage the BTA to pass measures that will secure the welfare of the Moro people, particularly in agri-fishery, healthcare, transportation, communication, digital infrastructure, and e-governance.
The BTA received praise from the President for its gains as a result of the approval of several of the 7 priority codes, including administrative, civil service, and education. The interim Chief Minister of BARM, Ahod Ibrahim, said that they will work to have the remaining measures passed.
We are committed to sustain the momentum and the trust you have given us. As a testament to this, we are poised to file more than 20 cabinet bills upon the start of the formal session of the Parliament. These bills includes the remaining priority codes. Foremost, we commit to deliver the Bangsamoro Electoral Code and the Bangsamoro Local Government Code, if not by the end of the year, then by the first quarter of 2023.
During the transition period, the BTA is mandated to enact priority legislation, including the Bangsamoro's administrative, revenue, electoral, local governance, and education codes. The BTA will serve as an interim government of BARM until 2025. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, said that they are likely to push through with the procedure of filing certificates of candidacy for the barangay and SK elections next month. Meanwhile, the Commission guarantees the safety of the Maguindanao plebiscite on Saturday. Dante Amento tells us why.
The filing of certificates of candidacy for the barangay and SK elections will undoubtedly begin on October 6 and continue until October 13, 2022, with the exception of October 9, which is a Sunday. According to Commission on Elections Chairman George Erwin Garcia, this if a law for the postponement of the BSKE is not yet in place. The poll body is hoping for a clear direction on the conduct of the barangay and SK polls before September ends.
Hanggat wala pong batas na humahalinhin o pumapalit sa batas na may election time ng December 5, 2022, tuloy po ang ating filing ng certificates of candidacy mula October 6 to 13.
Based on COMELEC Resolution number 10831, the election period will begin on October 6 and a gun ban will be in effect until December 12, 2022. Garcia added that he received information from a legislator that in the event the BSKE is postponed, those who are filing their COCs will continue to be aspiring candidates until the elections are reset.
Baka magpasama ng isang provision at yun ang aabangan natin na kung saan yung lahat na nag-file ng candidacy ng October 6 to 13 ay sila na rin ang nag-file ng candidacy at sila na rin yung tuloy-tuloy. Hindi na nila kinakailangan mag-file ng candidacy kung sakali magkakaroon ng resetting. Maliban na lang kung overage na.
Meanwhile, this Saturday, September 17, 2022, over 3,000 members of the Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines will secure the Maguindanao plebiscite. Maguindanao is supposed to be split into two provinces, such as Maguindanao del Norte and Maguindanao del Sur, by the plebiscite. More than 800,000 voters are anticipated to cast their ballots in 400 polling places between 7 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon.
Nagtitrain tayo ng personnel ng PNP. No, just in case kung may ganun na situation to address it, sila mismo ang pupunta mag-act as plebiscite committee, no, para matuloy.
Even though there is an opposing party on the plebiscite, the Commission has not received any serious threats.
Mayroon lang kaming na-monitor pero hindi na-identify kung kaninong clan, kaninong party ito or grupo ito. Ang alam na namin na mayroong nag-oppose and that's healthy, that's the essence of democracy, no?
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Over half of kidnapping cases recorded by the Philippine National Police were related to the Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators, or POGOs. The Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, or PAGCOR, says necessary actions will be done, including cancellation of licenses. This report will tell us why. The Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs conducted its inquiry on the alleged rising number of abduction cases in the country. Several videos circulating on social media were presented during the hearing, including an alleged abduction video that happened along Skyway. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, says the incident was not kidnapping but a robbery holdup case involving a Malaysian national.
Although wala pa akong official report about this, sir, considered solved na po yan, sir. Na-pinpoint na ng biktima yung isa sa mga na hold up sa kanya, sir. Meron pang dalawang tinutukoy po, sir. Tatlo po yan, sir. Yung involved, sir, yung Pilipino na yung tinatawag naming protective security, sir.
Very karumal-dumal, tinanggalan ng tenga. PNP, can you confirm or deny if that video transpired within our territory?
This is not taken in our territory as confirmed by our director of the ACG.
Please, huwag kayo matakot. Huwag kayo matakot. Hindi ito. Huwag na ninyong ipakalat yung video na yan kasi hindi pala nangyayari sa ating bansa yan. Nagdadagdag lang kayo ng unnecessary fear and anxiety sa ating mga kababayan. Please stop it.
The PNP reports that 29 kidnapping cases were recorded so far this year, 15 of which were related to Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators, or POGOs. Out of the Pogo-related kidnappings, the PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group says most of the rescued victims who were abducted came from 3 Pogo companies.
Nangyari ngayon, sir, parang may shortage po, sir, ng tao. Kasi balita po natin, sir, nagsara po yung mainland China. Halimbawa, yung ako, sir, may Pogo company ako. Ang offer ko is, halimbawa, sir, 20,000 monthly. Yung kabila, sir, mag-offer naman yun ng mas malaki. So yung tendency ng empleyado, sir, lilipat doon. Once na natulugan po, sir, na lilipat, i-hold na po nila, sir, and then they will demand ng palit ng mga ginastos nila sa family niya sa China.
The Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation of PAGCOR says 2 of the Pogo companies are licensed. PAGCOR vows that necessary actions will be taken, including cancellation of their licenses, and ensures that the other unlicensed Pogo company will be monitored. Meanwhile, the National Capital Region Police Office is mulling over conducting inspections to identify foreign nationals.
Sample, sir, may checkpoint, sample ng bawas sa Kamuning. Uplasita, panakita ng Chinese ID. May mga ganun ba, sir?
Sandali lang. What prevented you from doing that?
Baka magalit sa amin, sir, baka ma-open sila.
Hindi. Desperate times need desperate measures. You think that is a desperate measure na sitahin mo, hanapan mo na pagkasin, gawin mo.
The committee's chairperson, Senator Ronald De La Rosa, says they will no longer conduct another hearing on the kidnapping issue, and the panel's committee report will be released next week. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Philippine National Police Chief Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. drew flack after his remark not to scare criminals. This is designated as a non-pro victim by the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption. Lea Ilagan explains why.
Netizens didn't like the recent statement of PNP Chief Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. not to scare the criminals and give them a second chance. The PNP leadership statement, according to the netizen, has resulted in an increase in kidnapping cases around the nation. If the PNP top cop is unwilling to change his style, they call for his resignation. A further claim made by the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption is that General Azurin is not a pro-victim.
Hindi sa pro-victim kamukha namin. Kami ba nabigyan ng second chance yung mahal namin sa buhay? One is certain, ang mahal namin sa buhay is 6 feet below the ground, while itong mga kriminal na to, na-enjoy lahat nila yung benefits. The right to get a lawyer, the right to file motion for reconsideration.
General Azurin meanwhile refuted the allegation.
Siguro magkakaiba lang po kami ng pananaw. Sabi nga natin is everybody deserves a second chance. Diba? Nasa Bible nga yan. Diba? Ang lang dyan is, siyempre sinasabi ko nga is, mahirap kasi na palalabasin natin na lumalaban sila kung hindi naman sila lumalaban.
Azurin also appealed to give them a chance to handle the peace and order in the country.
Sa totoo lang, in the past, even when I was with PAOK, sa dami na nang namatay, sa dami na nang pinatay, bakit meron pa rin krimen? Yun ba ay solusyon? Diba? Bakit hindi silang gumawa niyan? Kung ano, diba? Ibig sabihin, there must be a better way to do things, and doing our job right is one of the best things na kailangan ay may pakita natin so that manumbalik yung tiwala ng mamamayan.
According to the PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group's track record, there are more kidnapping cases involving Pogo now than there were last year. The said data is apart from the series of abduction posted in social media where the victims were later found dead. Lea Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Later this week, Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping are meeting in Uzbekistan to discuss the ongoing war with Ukraine. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Yes, Paul, go ahead.
Mariel, the two leaders will be meeting at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Summit in Uzbekistan to discuss the war and other international and regional topics. According to Yuri Ushakov, the Kremlin's foreign affairs advisor, China has been understanding of the situation, which prompted Russia to launch their military operation. The summit is scheduled to be held from today until tomorrow, September 16, and while Putin plans to meet up with other national leaders from India, Pakistan, Turkey, and Iran, he stated that his meeting with China is of particular importance. The SCO was founded back in 2001 by China and Russia alongside 4 other former Central Asian nations, and for quite a while, Russia and China have been trying to arrange the event. Back to you, Mariel.
Thank you, Paul Gatchalian, reporting live. Around 1.6 million people were forced to leave their homes in Shanghai and neighboring Zhejiang province as Typhoon Muifa made landfall, bringing strong winds and torrential rains. According to CCTV, Muifa was the strongest storm to hit Shanghai since record-keeping began in 1949. No fatalities or major injuries were reported so far. There were reports of giant waves hitting Hangzhou Bay, landslides in Ning'ai County, and flooding in areas along the Yangtze River Delta. Chinese weather forecasters warned that Muifa could still bring further flash flooding as it heads north. This week, Japan and Germany promote the safe and peaceful use of space by pledging not to test direct ascent anti-satellite or ASAT missiles. The two nations confirmed their pledge during the second session of the United Nations Open-Ended Working Group on Space Threat Reduction, which began on September 12 in Geneva. Germany and Japan are the most recent countries to legally prohibit direct ascension or ASAT tests that result in orbital debris. Canada joined in May this year, followed by New Zealand in July. Meanwhile, more countries are expected to join as the United States ramps up efforts to promote the ban. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
A multinational consortium backs the $11 billion Sangley Point International Airport project. Once the airport becomes operational, it will serve as an alternative to Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
There were no challengers or other interested companies in accomplishing the Sangley Point International Airport or SPIA project. The provincial government of Cavite explains this as the SPIA Development Consortium backs the project to develop the Sangley Airport to an international gateway. The multinational consortium is composed of companies from the Philippines, South Korea, and Europe. In a statement, Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla says this new airport is the future and hope of the country despite the province being a small player. In a separate statement, the SPIA Development Consortium expressed excitement for the actual commencement of the infrastructure project, which aims to provide a premium gateway that will initially serve as an alternative to Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA. It is also designed to meet an anticipated increase in demand for air transport in the next 30 to 40 years. The consortium details that the project includes the construction of a 4-kilometer connector road with provisions for rail connectivity as well as fully integrated logistics and aviation support facilities. The Phase 1 of the Sangley Point International Airport project is expected to be operational in 2028. And upon completion of Phase 2, it may serve up to 75 million passengers annually. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Local government units used creative ideas for program incentives in their campaign against monsoon diseases like leptospirosis and dengue. JP Nunez reports.
Residents of Marikina gathered to turn over rats that they had found in homes, drains, and market areas. Depending on the size of the rats, residents are paid for around 50 to 200 pesos for each rodent. The Marikina City 2-day Rat to Cash program, which is geared at preventing leptospirosis, has already collected more than 3,000 rats.
Itong Rat to Cash program ng Marikina City, makikita nyo dun sa ito yung kampanya against leptospirosis. Ang layunin kasi ng programang ito ay puksain natin yung mga hayop o peste na pinanggagalingan ng talaga ng sakit na leptospirosis.
Marikina City Mayor Marcy Teodoro reported in an interview that the LGU had already paid around 300,000 pesos for the first day of the program. According to data from the Department of Health, leptospirosis cases rose by 36% throughout the nation from January to August. The number increased from 2,299 cases reported in 2021 to 1,770 cases during the same period in 2022. A barangay in Tanza, Cavite also created a unique campaign to prevent dengue. A plate of mosquitoes for a kilo of rice program was debuted by the Barangay Sanha Mayor. Residents are urged to use plates on which they must drizzle oil in order to catch mosquitoes. Residents can exchange a plate of mosquitoes for a kilogram of rice at their local barangay office. The program is available through September 30. On August 29, the municipality of Tanza declared a dengue outbreak after recording almost twice as many cases as the previous year. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our Kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 12, it says, "Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility." And those are the reasons behind the news September 15, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Hardin Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.